I think one of the things that a lot of student athletes don't understand is that you got to be your own advocate.
Okay.
I think that a lot of student athletes make the mistake of assuming that you're going to get discovered, that someone is going to happen to walk by your court at your time and your moment. And truly the best way to be discovered is to make sure people know you exist and to get emails out and to make phone calls and to discover institutions, schools that you're interested in.
Okay.
And do your best to make contact with them. Tell them where you're going to be, what tournaments you're going to be at, and tell them to come watch you. So I think it doesn't matter what sport you compete in.
I can't assume that my high school coach is doing that for me.
That's exactly right. And you got to be doing it for yourself. And it doesn't matter if you live in Southern California or you live in the middle of Oklahoma. Being willing to make those connections, I've never seen it hurt anybody, right?
Okay.
Worst case, they don't like you, they don't need you, and you're right back where you started. So I think beat the streets and put yourself out there.
Time out. Let me ask you this. What if the gap between where you are today and where you want to be isn't talent? It's how you're training when no one's watching. That's what this studio podcast is all about. We don't chase motivation. We don't hype potential. We build identity through habits, standards, and systems. This is where student athletes, parents, coaches, and leaders come to sharpen how they think, prepare, and perform. I'm Coach Randy, and this is the Built Different Studio Podcast.
Good afternoon. What's up, family? Coach Randy here. Welcome to the Built Different Studio Podcast, where we don't just talk about success, we train it. Mindset, systems, habits. This is where champions in sports, school, and life are made. Let's lock in and let's build. So, family, today we've got someone in the studio who's built excellence from every angle of the game. Coach Theo Edwards is the head coach of CSUN men's basketball, not basketball, I'm a basketball coach, men's volleyball. He's a former Division I athlete and a leader who's walked the full journey from student athlete to assistant to head coach, earning every step along the way. He played varsity basketball at Alemany. Those of you know I'm an assistant coach there today. He understands competitive culture, and now he leads one of the most respected programs in the country through standards, preparation, and belief. What I respect most about Coach Theo is this. He understands building, not chasing quick wins, but developing programs, people, and culture. He's led CSUN back into national conversation, guided athletes through pressure moments, and stayed committed to the process when it mattered most. He's lived the grind, he's carried the responsibility, and he leads with clarity, humility, and conviction. So today, we're talking leadership, we're talking development, we're talking what it really means to build a program. And young men at the highest level. Family, help me welcome Coach Theo Edwards. Theo, welcome to the
Randy.
Studio Podcast. How are you doing today?
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it, man. I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me here.
Good. We're excited to have you on the show today and just kind of, share your knowledge. But before we dive in, I want to start with you. Not the wins, not the rankings, not the resume. For everyone listening, tell us who you are, where you come from, and the moments that built you. Because every champion has a beginning, and we want to hear yours.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you, I'm born and raised in the San Fernando Valley. My family moved here when, before I was born. Originally my parents came from Michigan, and specifically the Detroit area. But yeah, this LA has been home to me for my entire life, and grew up, went to Pinecrest Elementary, which is now an elementary school that doesn't exist anymore.
Okay.
And then, as you mentioned, attended Alemany High School, and then played and essentially joined CSUN, which is my alma mater and where I coach and work today. So
man, that must be an
Valley
amazing
born,
experience. Man. Yeah. Just to come back to your alma mater and coach there as well. Man, that's crazy. That's an amazing experience. Theo, so you went from playing varsity basketball at Alemany to becoming a Division I athlete, and now a Division I men's volleyball program. You're a coach at that level. What was that moment in your journey where you realized you weren't just competing anymore? You were being called to build, to lead, and to develop others?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I don't know that I had a specific moment,
Okay.
but I could tell you that it was a process that grew on me.
Yeah.
I think like a lot of young athletes, I fell in love with sports, the competition, the work ethic, the mindset building, everything that surrounds what we know and understand about athletes today, right? That was the initial drive.
Okay.
I was fortunate enough and incredibly blessed to be influenced by a lot of really, really great coaches, both in basketball and then later on in volleyball. And I think that
Okay. Can you drop some of those names? I want to highlight them as well. Some of those names.
Yeah. So my high school basketball coach, his name was Bill Bedgood,
Okay.
who
I know Coach
believe now
Bedgood.
yeah, Coach Bedgood, and he was at Notre Dame for a little bit after he left
That's where I met
Alemany,
him.
and then I now went to Valencia as well.
Yep.
And
I think he won a state
has had
championship over there as well.
yeah, man, he's a really talented coach and taught me a lot about hard work and
Okay.
really just being committed to the grind, right?
Yeah.
And I never pictured myself becoming a volleyball player. And really, volleyball was just something that I thought girls did when I was early in high school.
Yeah.
And I ended up joining the volleyball team at Alemany and ended up playing club
Oh
in
wow!
Simi
So you
Valley.
played volleyball and basketball at Alemany. Two-sport
I
athlete.
sure did.
Any
Yep,
other
two
sport?
sport.
Were you a three-sport or two-sport?
I wasn't. I would have been a track and field athlete, but
Okay.
at Alemany, and I think this is for most, right? The spring sports, you can't do two of them at the same time. And so
Yeah.
I wasn't able to do volleyball and track at the same time.
Got it. Now
So
that perspective really matters because it shows that
yeah,
it wasn't accidental, right? It was earned. And when you're called
for
to
sure.
lead at that level, you're going to be tested, right? You're going to be tested. So you stepped into this head coach role at CSUN during a time of transition, right? New responsibility,
Yep.
new
Yeah.
expectations, real pressure. What was that moment early on where the weight felt real, and what
Yeah.
did that season teach you about leadership, patience, and resilience?
Yeah, I think as a in my career and as a coach in general, you spend most of your time understanding and preparing for one day wanting to be a head coach, right?
Okay.
And
Yep.
I don't
Yep.
care what anybody tells you, when that moment comes, you weren't ready.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Good
as ready
point.
as you are, you weren't ready.
Yeah.
And I think that first year was so much about believing in the same processes that we continually teach and coach, right? Which
Okay.
is not being afraid to fail,
Yeah.
understanding that failure is the greatest teacher. And I still have that same approach today, but the work at building a program and being the one who's responsible for that creates a ton of pressure. And I think it's been something that's really helped me grow as an individual.
Yeah, no, thanks for sharing that. And that's real leadership, everyone listening. Learning in motion, not waiting for perfect conditions, right? And the growth doesn't happen by accident. It comes from systems you talked about, the things that you've already practiced, the things that you know, the things that you trust. So you've coached at the highest collegiate level and helped rebuild a nationally ranked program. What's
Yep.
one habit, a system, or standard you've seen consistently separate teams and athletes for that matter? So,
Sure.
basically, how do you sustain success from those who fall short? What is that one
Yeah.
habit, system, or
Yeah.
standard?
I think the most important piece is discipline.
Wow,
We talk about it a lot in our gym, and the reality is the concept of there being a light at the end of the tunnel
Okay.
doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah.
exist. I think there's a lot of athletes and a lot of coaches and a lot of people in sports that train for the moment. They train for the result. They train for that light at the end of the tunnel. And I can tell you what we do has nothing to do with it. We believe in dedication. We believe in commitment. We believe in consistency. And consistency wins. And so we're not afraid to put in the work and waking up
Okay.
every single day and grinding at an elite level, and focusing on the process, the things that really create success. Are process oriented, right? We don't think
Process.
about
I
winning.
always
We
like
think
to hear
about
that
what
phrase,
creates winning.
focus on the process, not the outcome, right?
Exactly right.
No, that's amazing. And that standard that you said about discipline, athletes, they can apply that immediately, right? Not someday, but
Yeah.
today, discipline today, right? Being able to, and that's just not for sport. It's discipline in your work ethic in the classroom as well. My son, he was telling me the other day, he was studying for his OChem exam, and he's at the college level. He's at USC, but he was just telling me, "I'm grinding, Dad. I'm grinding hours and hours and hours of studying." So that's a key point in terms of discipline. And standards like that don't come from nowhere. I mean, they're kind of passed down, right, and learned. So who helped build you in a sense as a player, a coach, a man, and what lesson from them still shapes you in terms of how you lead your program and mentor your own athletes today? Who's that one kind of mentor? I know you mentioned there's a lot of coaches, but is there that one coach or that one mentor that really helped you?
Yeah, 100%. It's my mom.
Wow.
I
Okay.
was raised in a single parent household.
Okay. Okay.
I lost my dad at a young age, and
Mm.
my mom from the beginning, as early as I can remember, showed me what work ethic was. Showed me
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
it meant to believe in the process, for lack of a better term. But she would go to work at 7 a.m. She'd come home at 7 p.m. And she worked her
Grinding.
way
Okay.
up. She worked her way up through the ad agency and became a CEO and an owner of her own company,
Yeah.
and was an incredible boss and employee in her systems. And so
Wow. That's
when
powerful.
I
Your
think,
mom. Yeah.
yeah,
That's powerful. How many brothers and sisters do you have? I'm going to put that into context in
yeah.
terms of, single
So
mom.
I have one brother.
Okay.
We have four stepsisters that came along later in life.
Okay.
But it
Okay.
was just me, my mom, and my brother growing up.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. And your mom, I always say, I mean, that's powerful when you hear that in terms of your mom or someone says their dad, right? I mean, because leadership always leaves fingerprints, right? And the fingerprints of your mom is, peppered throughout your life as well. So now let's talk a little bit about future in terms of the future you're hoping or helping to shape. So the question I have for you is, you've seen college athletics evolve, recruiting, pressure, expectations, opportunity. What's
Yep.
the one mindset or standard you believe in the next generation of students must carry if they want to succeed? I know you mentioned discipline, but not just in sport, but in school and life. And how can they be truly built different?
Sure. The thing that comes to mind for me is patience. Um,
Ah, okay.
there's a, I think we all understand the way that technology has evolved and its impact on today's generation. Everything is at the drop of a hat or in an
Okay.
instance, right? The
Instant gratification.
gratification,
Yep.
the want for results and wanting it to happen quickly. And that's just not the way that life works. I think that all of the things in life that we accomplish, in order for us to have something that's truly special, it takes time and it takes
Yeah. Yeah.
consistency. And having the patience to approach life with that mindset is very challenging at times. But
Patience,
I think that's
patience.
the,
I
the
like
biggest
that.
tool for sure.
Yeah, yeah, no, I like that, and, things take time, right? Things take time, whether you're building a program, whether you're building yourself, it does take time, and you can't expect, something to happen overnight. Easy come, easy go, as the phrase
That's
goes,
right.
right?
That's
So,
right.
Coach Theo, I wanna talk to you, I wanna gain a little bit more insight into your volleyball team. I know
Sure.
you and I have been friends for a long time, and, I know you guys compete at the highest level. Can you just share
Yeah.
some of the accolades in terms of either recent wins, tournament wins, accomplishments, players
Sure.
you've had? Just some background there. I want the audience members and listeners to really understand CSUN volleyball, right? Next level.
Yeah. Yeah. I think if you were talking about us, I think the culture that we built and where we've become is really has to do with the guys that we have. And we play in the Big West. We
Mhm.
This past season we were inside the top 10. I think we finished at number 9 in the country.
Wow.
And
How many men's volleyball teams are there in, D1 volleyball ballpark?
yeah. So in our championship, I think there's 73 teams
Okay. Okay.
in total, right? And so
Okay.
to be inside of the top 10, I think what's interesting about that is normally, yeah, from a volume perspective, I think it's easier to accomplish things and be at the top than, like, let's say Division I basketball, right?
Yeah.
But there's also a little bit of a filter in terms of the elite athletes, right? Less opportunities. And so essentially, in order to be the best, almost every team is really talented. It all filters up to the top. But this past year, we marked our way back to the top 10, which I think is a big part of our history. And when I was an athlete here, we played in the Final Four in one of the top four countries in the country. Okay. And it had been a really long time before for us to get back to that point. And so, we have 2 All-Americans currently on our team, and Jalen Phillips is one of them, who is one fantastic athlete, competes for USA Volleyball, and potentially could be a prospect for the 28 Olympics.
Wow, that's amazing.
Then we have a lot of international athletes as well. One of our players, his name is Stilian Delabosov, all conference for the Big West. And when you look at other sports across the country, the Big West in men's volleyball is like the SEC in football.
Oh, I see. Okay. Wow.
It's all the big dogs.
That's a big league conference then.
Definitely.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. So where are you guys at in terms of schedule, volleyball schedule? Is it, are you guys in season now, postseason, preseason? Where does that stand?
Yeah, so this is kind of the calm before the storm for us. Our first competition for the season is January 8th. The guys are in finals right now. We take our Christmas break. We come back and start training on December 31st. Okay. And we jump right into it. January 8th, we're at Santa Barbara. That'll be our first competition of the year, and it goes essentially through early May.
And then when is the first home game? I want to make sure we get all the local audience members to support you on that. When is the first home game?
Yeah, for sure. Let me grab my schedule up here so I can give you some call outs, man. But essentially,
no, we definitely want to put those dates in.
Our first home match is January 21st. Which is against
January
Long Island
21st.
University.
Let me pause there. January 21st. That's 2 days before my birthday. So everyone needs to recognize me on that birthday. 2 days after that. So I'm gonna try to go out there, make it out there for my little birthday present. So I'm making sure you get that victory there. Who do you guys play?
I like that. We play Long Island University.
Okay,
LIU.
Got it. All right,
yeah.
cool.
So that should be a good one.
All right, cool. Coach Theo, my last question I have for you is, we have a lot of student athletes wanting to play at the next level, whether it's volleyball, basketball, soccer, any sport. Can you give, it's a 2-part question. Can you give our listeners, our audience members, some advice in terms of how to get recruited? First, specifically for volleyball, and is kind of in general, how do you get recruited, that recruiting process? Yeah. Can you help our listeners there?
Absolutely. I think one of the things that a lot of student athletes don't understand is that you got to be your own advocate. I think that a lot of student athletes make the mistake of assuming that you're going to get discovered, that someone is going to happen to walk by your court at your time and your moment. And truly the best way to be discovered is to make sure people know you exist, and to get emails out, and to make phone calls, and to discover institutions, schools that you're interested in. Do your best to make contact with them. Tell them where you're going to be, what tournaments you're going to be at, and tell them to come watch you. I think it doesn't matter what sport you compete in. I can't
assume that my high school coach is doing that for me.
That's exactly right. And you got to be doing it for yourself. And it doesn't matter if you live in Southern California or you live in the middle of Oklahoma. Being willing to make those connections, I've never seen it hurt anybody, right? The worst case, they don't like you, they don't need you, and you're right back where you started. So I think beat the streets and put yourself out there.
Yeah, no, thanks for sharing that. Coach Theo, I appreciate you sharing your time, your perspective, and your leadership today. This is exactly what Built Different means, right? Family, this was a powerful one. Coach Theo didn't just talk about volleyball today. He pulled back the curtain and what it really takes to build a program and lead at the highest level, standardizations, accountability. He talked about discipline and the courage to stay committed to the process when the pressure is real. He's lived the journey from a student athlete to a Division I competitor to a head coach, building young men through growth, adversity, and opportunity. And that's what stands out the most is when I think of Coach Theo is leadership. right? Developing people first, trusting the work, and building culture that lasts. I mean, that continues. So if you're an athlete listening, take this with you. Success isn't just about talent. It's about the habits you're willing to live every single day. If you're a parent, remember this: real development takes time, just like Coach Theo said, and the right leadership makes all the difference. And if you're a coach, this is the reminder: we don't just run drills, we set the standards that shape lives. Coach Theo, I appreciate you, your example, your humility, and the work you continue to do for the next generation. Family, if this episode gives you something, share it with a teammate, a parent, a coach, or hear it. Just listen to it over and over. I'm Coach Randy, and this is the Built Different Studio Podcast, where we break down the mindset, systems, and habits that create champions in school, sport, and life. Handle today with intention. That's how champions are built. We'll see you next time. Champions, go win the day. Thanks, Coach Theo. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Coach Randy. Thanks for having me on.
All right, man. Take care.
Remember this, family. Talent might open the door, but your mindset, your habits, and your discipline decide how far you go. So keep showing up, keep building, and keep choosing the harder road, because that's the one that makes you built different. I'm Coach Randy, and this is the Built Different Studio Podcast.